we play fight, we dogpile each other. It's just all brotherly love and all that stuff that you can't do now, like the physical contact, having big gatherings, the parties in the locker room. The pregame is not the same. We have a locker room outside. We're not in there getting turned up, hanging with each other. It's strictly business and nothing else with the whole COVID situation.
COVID-19 forced schools into online learning and forced athletic directors to determine if spring sports would continue.
In the spring, the governor and the state canceled all schools and didn't allow anybody on campuses. So that at that point, no one could have practices, no one could host games. We had no choice.
That left athletic departments and health departments to set guidelines for fall sports.
All of the schools that we know of has taken it very seriously, and they're doing screenings, they're doing testing when they need to, they're doing contact tracing, and they're not cutting any corners.
The Spartan football team is not cutting corners. Their rules include wearing a mask, social distancing, and fewer players in the locker room.
Yeah, you got to check every kid's temperature as they come in. Every kid should be wearing a mask. You ask them if they're having any symptoms, if anybody at home has had symptoms. You can only have, I think it's 20 kids in the locker room at a time.
Playing conditions are still far from normal.
Last year, when we had big plays, the fans would go crazy and the parents would go crazy, and you would hear that. Versus this year, we made a big play. It's only 50 people. You can hear the difference, and you can feel the difference too.
Big crowd or not, Battle was looking forward to its crosstown game with Hickman. That game was canceled over COVID-19 fears.
That was kind of a sad day, if you will, having to cancel our big game with Hickman that weekend, which is our in-town rival. So the game that I think most kids on this team circle on the calendar.
The team was forced to quarantine for 2 weeks. No games, no practices until the program was cleared.
Stay ready. Our season wasn't over, and expect as soon as we're allowed to, we're gonna have a game scheduled and we're gonna play.
It was up to each player to keep in shape and game ready, including the head coach's son.
The hardest part of quarantining these last 14 days has been keeping ourselves conditioned and keeping that brotherhood aspect. When you go out here with 10 other guys, you have to be able to trust each other.
If those challenges weren't enough, players must decide which family member can watch them play. Columbia Public Schools only allows one ticket per player per game.
I'm glad, that I get to play football, but this Corona thing kind of crashed. I never thought my senior year would be me picking sometimes in between my mom and my dad coming to my game.
The seating capacity also limits college recruiters from scouting.
I had his coach come and he had to watch, from the fence. Luckily, he was able to see. But it's things like that, not coaches being able to have direct contact face-to-face.
COVID-19 is a new rival.
Our coaches have been emphasizing this year that it's not about who we play, especially since our schedules are having to be so flexible. So week to week, we're just focusing on us and getting our team prepared for any opponent.
Despite adjustments, most players are grateful just to be out on the field.
We are so blessed to be able to play this year, especially being senior year. I think our guys have been ready to play. We're preparing for it to be canceled, but we're really glad that it's not, and we're going to make the best out of it no matter what.
Players and coaches both agree this requires a group effort.
It's been a fun challenge. Obviously the situation is not ideal, but it's been kind of fun for some of us, just adapting to this new situation and getting to live through something historic.
So spring sports were a no-go, fall sports are working through it, and winter sports are not a guarantee. Reed Bayless, Tom Corbett, Jacob Faber, and Zephyrus Lee reporting for KOMU.